out of the final corner. Red lights go out, the race gets underway, and it's Scott Parkin then in the lead and trying to make up ground. To his left hand side is Colin Gillespie. Of course, he got that gap where the BMW should have been, but he's not made full benefit from that because he's been a bit slow through the next corner there, and that's allowed Darren Ball to slot through in second place. Gillespie is in third, and is that the car of
Simon Major with his
Simon
new
Major,
livery.
isn't it? Yeah, in fourth position as they make their way through the old hairpin for the first time. So this Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship race is underway.
A bit like it was side by side in B between the Ginetta and the Honda of Matthew Tidmarsh and William Puttergill. They were side by side. Puttergill, one of the three championship contenders in the Clubman Cup, and they got pole in that this morning, which that's the bit that he shared with Chris Nyland. Up at the top of the hill, they're still side by side, those two B-class leaders, so that's a good battle. But Scott Parkin's getting away from the TCR cars behind of Ball and Gillespie, the Cupra and the Volkswagen. Then in fourth position is Major, who made a really good start from row 4. And then in fifth position is Dylan Brichter. Then in the Audi, he's fighting though to try and get through. Then you've got the Browse car. That's also made a good start. Luke Browse at the wheel of that one. Claire Norman is up next. Then Paul Simerson in the ex-Century Motorsport GT4 BMW. And then the rest. They come over the brown. Now there's the Ginetta. Where's William Puttergill got to in all of this? The Clubman Cup pole sitting Honda is no longer behind the Ginetta. It's lost a couple of spots in the overall order to other Class B cars. A very good start from Mark Grice, who gained 5 places on that lap, and he is second in Class B already on his return to Club Enduro. He only qualified 7th in the class, so all those 5 positions he's gained are all for class. So great start from Mark Grice. Yeah,
I did think that he might move forward from there. Seems to be a little bit further back than I might have expected him. 2 Mark 3 MX-5s going wheel to wheel there. That was James Mansell and Thomas Stedman. They were battling for their private positions within their class. Half an hour is when the pit lane window opens, by the way. Half an hour into this race, and it closes 15 minutes before the end. 1 3-minute pit stop mandatory to be served by all teams, whether they're 1 or 2 driver efforts. And the top 3 are all single drivers, aren't they, at the moment? Scott Parkin, Darren Ball and Colin Gillespie. Simon Major, the first of the 2 driver teams, who I'm sharing with Justin Middleton. Dylan Brichter with Ryan Parkin in 5th place.
It's 3 abreast here, heading down past the old exhibition centre. I think that's Matthew Hampson at the head of it. Jamie Hadley's Invitational Golf is in there as well. This is about something like 10th position in the race. You've got the BMW M2 of Rob Fennick. One car for the pit lane already is the debutant Clint Wright in his Toyota. See if we can get him back out into the race. David Blackie's made a good start. He's joining in on this battle as well in the BMW E92 M3.
So there's that invitation class car of Jamie Hadley, the Golf. Rest of the field going through, so a good number of BMWs in this race as well. There's one for the pit lane. Who is that is going into the pits? It's the Will Beach car. The Will Beach car, number 82, has gone into the pit lane. So an early problem. This is not a mandatory stop because we're still 26 minutes away from the pit lane window being opened.
Will Beach, I think, has the problems in qualifying. That car didn't seem to be running well most of the time. There's a mechanical flag for Colin Gillespie, the car in 3rd position.
I did see some sort of fluid or something leaking from that car as it went up to McLean's on, I think, the first lap. So whether that's also what the observers trackside have spotted, I'm not quite sure. This is a good little scrap, isn't it? Involving the number 10 car, Rob Fennick, also the David Blackie E92 M3 as well. Into the pits, it's got one of the Class C front runners as well, and straight into the garage that car has gone. That's the car that was started by Jonathan Hayes, I think, in the 66 car.
Shame for Johnny Hayes, that car that finished 2nd in the Class C Championship in 2022.
They were looking to retain that 2nd place, or regain that 2nd place this season, behind the all-conquering Moore and Dennis duo.
They might still do that, particularly if they can get out and complete 50%. That might be the aim in all of this. Also involved in this battle is another M3, the Lynches. Did we get a start driver for 176?
I only got one driver, which was William Lynch, on the timing.
Great, I've
sheet
made note of that. 139.37 for Scott Parkin, and that is a new lap record. Chris Boardman's previous better, 39.75, 0.4 of a second underneath the previous lap record in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship.
So they make their way out of Goddard's. Another lap completed then, 1:54 to go. Scott Parkin leading by 2 3/4 seconds from Darren Ball. Gillespie in third. We're watching these sort of trio of BMWs coming down the Craner curves towards us, including the 176 car in all of this, that being the William Lynch M3 for the driver from Midhurst, and he is in 13th position at the moment. Just up ahead is the car started by Matthew Hampson, the M2, which Andy Schultz will take over later on in the race. And just behind, the Class B leader, which is the Ginetta, started by Matthew Tidmarsh, the sort of golf-coloured car. That's trying to get in amongst these BMWs now.
It's tiny amongst, especially that E92, which is massive. But David Blackie's got to the front of that group, so that's a good effort. And the Ginetta's trying to go around the outside. I'm not sure if William Lynch realised that Matthew Tidmarsh was there. Of course, Tidmarsh and Webster are the provisional champions in B, so great season they've had in the Ginetta. They've had a couple of class wins. They hadn't had a class win before this year. Not that far ahead of the Mark Grice and William Puttergill battle for the Clubman Cup lead. Ideally, if Puttergill and Nyland want to win the Clubman Cup title, winning the race is the best way about going at it. A non-championship rival, Mark Grice, has taken the lead of that, though, in the early laps of this. They're all involved in that Class B lead battle with Matthew Tidmarsh just up the road. The other Clubman Cup Championship contenders, got one at the back of the screen there, is 119, the Sandro Ballesteros, Bobby Trundley, Audi, and then the third car in contention is actually the championship leader coming into this in the Clubman Cup, and then the overall provisional champion Sam Moore and Sam Dennis. But they are a Class C car, so won't have the outright pace, but they've been reliable and consistent over the year, and that is what has put them in championship contention this year. Gillespie came into the pits here and put off that mechanical flag.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, just going to say, he's got the Class C lap record as well now. That's been down into the 1:48. That's been taken away from Rowan and Richard Lundy, who had that previously. We're on board with Scott Parkin. He's got a clear track in front of him in the Audi TT, the Darkside Developments run car. Around the Melbourne hairpin he goes, and then climbs back up towards Goddard. Third gear, now up to fourth gear, and then he'll get on the brakes for the hairpin, down to third again through there, and out of the corner we'll accelerate up through the gears, fourth gear, then up to fifth as he goes sort of past the pits and into Redgate corner, and back down again for Redgate. He's going to start some lappery shortly. He's got that little Caterham Academy car up ahead of him. A little while since we've had a Caterham in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship, but it's about to go a lap down, I think.
Parkin going away up front, 6 seconds ahead, but he needs to do that because he has got a 30-second success compensation time to add to his pit stop for winning the previous race at Alton Park. Scott Parkin, who's had 3 wins this year, which the other one has come at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit and at Snetterton, but 6 seconds ahead of Darren Ball. He's also lapped that E30 M3, which is good to have out there against Senna Osman at the wheel to start off with. So Ball second, third is Simon Major, fourth is Dylan Brichter, fifth for Luke Browse, Paul Simerson's up to sixth, Matthew Stockford is eighth, Claire Norman, no, is eighth rather, seventh for Stockford, the ex-Paralympian, ninth is Jamie Hadley, and Rob Fennick completes the top 10 after the first 5 laps of racing. Gillespie, I think, back out onto the circuit after a pit stop.
Yes, that's unfortunate for him. He'll have been delayed by that, and we'll see what he can do from where he's. Expect to see him climb back through the order.
See in the background, the two Clubman Cup leaders are nose to tail. The Grice and Puttergill battle, they're just heading down the back straight towards the S's. So that is a really close race in the early stages. There's the Caterham, Tim Parsons at the wheel. I think sometime Morgan Racer who started that. Here's Stockford and Norman, they're involved in a good battle. Matthew Stockford in the Audi, Claire Norman in the Cupra, the 43-year-old from Cheltenham who started racing 20 years ago in the Road Slough series before racing the Volkswagen Racing Cup. Racing historics as well. But let's have a look at this Clubman Cup battle just coming out of the final corner. 27 Mark Grice, head of championship contender 83 Will Puttergill, but gap back to the next car in that championship battle. Sandro Ballesteros there in 119, the 17-year-old from Greater Manchester who raced in the Junior Saloon Car Championship before racing the 116 Trophy. But there is the Clubman Cup leader at this stage, 27 Mark Grice, who's been a race winner in this championship before. And there is Will Puttergill, comes in third in points, but with a chance to take that Clubman Cup championship. Will Puttergill, the 41-year-old from Nottingham, so at his local circuit today, the ex-Type R Trophy racer in a K24 powered Honda Civic, and keen to take this lead of the class away, I think, from Mark Grice at this stage, Ian.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Good little scrap this for 15th and 16th position overall, and they're going to get alongside one another down the straight. Over the crest they go, but it looks like it is going to be Grice in the 27 car, but continues to hold on for the moment from number 83, Will Puskill, in the Holland Asset Management Leverage Honda Civic Type R. So these two, second and third in Class B, behind the Marshall Webster Janetta. But the Clubman Cup, and now wide has gone Mark Grice, and has conceded the lead of the Clubman Cup away to Will Puskill there.
That's right, that's where Puttergill wants the race to the position he wants to end in 107 minutes time. There's a lot to happen before then. See the heat there in the brake pads of Mark Grice. That was a great shot there at the Goddard, and that's maybe why he outbraked himself at Melbourne. Already the front brakes on the Audi TT starting to get up to temperature. I wonder if that's the car that Grice has raced in the short distance races, and this is very different, of course, having to go for a long time. There's Gillespie recovering. There is Ballesteros, though, who is one of the three contenders for that Clubman Cup title. And he's just done a PB, a 146.6 for Ballesteros. But Jay, frustration for Gillespie, best particularly if it wasn't a particular problem, if it was an overfill or just an early moment of perhaps smoke that's not going to come to anything, and if that's lost them a minute or so, hasn't it? But Gillespie might be able to come back from that in that Volkswagen Golf. Yeah, down to 17th position. He went as a result of that one. Back to 17th he's got, so he is getting ahead of Ballesteros. So we've got the Audi TT turning its way there into Copse Corner. There's on new Clubman Cup leader Will Putskill, now with quite an advantage over Mark Grice. Of course, the Ballesteros programme, that was announced on the BBC website, wasn't it? Yes. At the beginning of the season, with Bobby Trundley racing, the pair racing for the Racing with Autism UK team. Those two inspirational youngsters that are really quick drivers, the pair of them. Trundley, who's been a class winner in British GT in the past, he will get in for the second part. Got a couple of FN2 Civics here, battling over second in Class C. Matthew Stenning in 16 is ahead of Ethan Simmons in 9, who I think is making his Club Enduro debut today. He's raced in road sports previously. I think he's still a teenager. In 9, there he is. So good to have a couple of these later model Civics out. I'm not sure what he's waving about, but good to see the cars. He was waving Scott Parkin through, wasn't he, there? But if he can do that every time someone's lap him, he's going to have a sore hand by the end, I should think. Yeah. Anyway, but Scott Parkin has
has now put a lap on that car.
And a parking wave back. That was good to see.
Pleasant of him. In 26th position is Ethan Simmons, so he's now lapped everyone up to 25th, and he'll soon lap everyone who's up to 24th as well, I think.
Yes, this won't be like 116 Trophy where we have lots of cars on the lead lap at the end.
No. So that's the 183 car that's now been lapped as well. The Stephen Cook, Edward Cook, Volkswagen Scirocco. Stephen aboard that first today. Edward took the first stint yesterday in Road Sports.
Had a change for second. Simon Major, who started down in 8th. He's had a good first stint. He's up into second. Both he and Dylan Brichter got past Darren Ball. So Darren Ball, who was second, has dropped to 4th. They are 11 seconds now, though, behind Scott Parkin, who's absolutely flying in his Audi.
Off goes Ethan Simmons. He's got back onto the circuit in the number 9 car. Yes, it was a long lap that for Ball, wasn't it? Into the 143s. He had been doing 140s. The two that got past him were both in the 141s. So it was a problem of some description for Darren Ball that time through. There he is now. So whether it's a problem with the car or he just made a mistake, small mistake that allowed the next 2 through, not quite sure. We'll get an idea soon with the next lap time when they come through.
But yeah, Major, who's certainly in a new livery since I saw him go well at Snetterton earlier in the season. I presume it's just the livery and not a new car. They're in second place in the Cupra. He's had a decent season with Justin Middleton as his co-driver. Then they had a Road Sports win. They've had a podium at Snetterton as well. But being chased all the way by Dylan Brichter in the diesel-powered Darkside Developments Audi TT, a 2016 car, producing 310 brake horsepower. Slightly less power than twin brother Scott's car has. Twin brother to Ryan, Scott Parkin, who leads the way. So this is a slightly less powered car. But they come up across the line. Darren Ball is falling away here, isn't he, from this battle?
Yeah, that lap was back into the 141s, so not quite as slow as the previous lap, but nevertheless he fell away from those two.
That's right. They're just lapping the battle further back. Ballesteros in the pit lane. 119, Clubman Cup Championship contender in the pits, and this is before the pit window opens. So what has gone wrong? And not very much is happening. So this could be the end of the Championship Challenge, I think.
Yeah, the bonnet's open, but a bit of a mystery as to what he's doing. They've got the torch on there, just trying to look for something further down. So there's something that's been rattling around under there, or something like that. We're going to have to see what they can do here. This 12 minutes or so before the pit lane window opens, the driver getting out of the car.
All signs are not good here, I'm afraid.
No.
So the first of our 3 Clubman Cup Championship contenders falling, and this is good news for Motion Motorsport because the 2 cars left are both from that squad.
Yes, the squad that prepare a few cars across other 750 Motor Club categories as well.
I noticed they've got some non-Hondas in their squad now as well, haven't they? Some of the other teams are seeing a good job that Motion Motorsport are doing and are asking them to either prepare their cars or perhaps run them at race weekends. So a team that's sort of fairly new to the scene as well, aren't they? And they're growing all the time. Battle of a second continues.
Yeah, and this battle is how far behind the leader? 12 seconds behind the leader. Scott Parkin, Simon Major and Ryan Parkin, the 2 cars that we're looking at here, cars 18 and 6. There's just over a second between the 2 of them now. They've got a 3.5 second gap back now to Darren Ball, who's in 4th position. Major's getting away a little bit now in second place, I suggest, from Dylan Brichter in the diesel Audi TT. Out of the old hairpin they go and on towards McLean's. Blue flags waving, there'll be plenty of that in this race, I'm sure. Lots of traffic to be negotiated. The 119 car, yes, it is retiring to the garage by the sounds of it, the Ballesteros car. Looks like it's out there. So there you can see Sandro out of his car. His overalls untied at the waist. And I think either disappointed that his race is over or on the hunt for something that's going to get them back out into the race. But looks like it is a retirement for Sandro and Bobby, unfortunately.
Matt's on the scene. I'm sure we'll get the news soon, as soon as it gets relayed. Did we... Oh, we did see Will Puttigill get past Mark Grice, because of course that's when Grice run wide, wasn't it? So that's how the Clubman Cup lead changed.
Just looking as well as for Class B, it is the gap came down that time between Tidmarsh and Puttigill, because it was a 1:48.9 for Tidmarsh, a 1:46.1 for Puttigill, so the gap down to 3.5 seconds between them.
This is a bad garage to be in, because Johnny Hayes' car that was retired right at the start, it seemed, is also in there. So 2 retirements in one garage. See, Claire Norman's just done a personal best, a 1:42.9. She's passed Matthew Stockford lately. Here's our Class B leader and our provisional champion, the Ginetta G40, the ex-Rothgo car. With Matthew Tidmarsh at the wheel. Chris Webster has been his co-driver all year. They've had 2 wins, a second and a 6th in Class B this season. And the Golf livery, as you'd expect. It's got a 2.5 litre Duratec engine, power in that car, so not in any sort of Ginetta specification, but built especially for the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship. It's been developed over the last few years, and this year it's come really good. It's got really fast, it's set lap records at various venues, and now a professional class championship to go with it. And a battle of a second in the overall championship with Scott Parkin, I think, Ian, this weekend between these two. They were separated by just a point coming here to Donington Park.
Yeah, that's right. It's a gearbox failure on the 119 car, we understand, the Sandra Ballesteros car.
And in from 11th, another unscheduled stop. This is Rob Fennick's BMW M2. So the pit lane is a busier place than it should be at this stage of the race. So that's a shame there for Rob Fennick, the 45-year-old from Buckinghamshire. In his 4th season of racing, he finished 2nd in Class C last year. He's upgraded to this 2021 BMW that he's heading back out. The M2 CS Racing, a car they got from Holland, and that is heading back out into the race. So still going, but obviously time lost in that stop. But here's our Class B leader, about to put a lap down Ed Christie's at BMW, who's the sort of the poster boy for the live stream today. And Tidmarsh round the outside at the S's, not wasting any time, continuing to push on, looking for that 3rd class win of the season. Here's a 19, which is Wayne Lawson, the 52-year-old from Lincolnshire. Very experienced track day goer, but he's going racing for the first time this year. He's a wheelchair user, uses hand controls. It's a 2010 spec Audi TT, and this is one of the cars that has been taken over by Motion Motorsport in recent months. And I think Wayne was saying that the car, I think, was ready to be scrapped, but Motion Motorsport said we can get that back running, and that's absolutely what they've done. He had the best run at Silverstone he's had in that car, and things going okay here, running in 6th position within Class B in the early stages. A car that he will share with James Pickford, the former Seat Cupra champion from 20 years ago, if you can believe it was that long, Ian.
It's a scary thought, isn't it? That was that long ago. So we are working lap number 15 for the leader. Just the news from Matt came that the Fenwick car's reported to have a puncture, but turned out not to have one.
There's Darren Ball, who's dropped to 4th. He's dropped quite a long way back from Dylan Brichter, 7.5 seconds. So he's perhaps starting to pace himself now, trying to keep those front tyres in order. All these front cars are front-wheel drive cars, aren't they? The Audi TTs, I think, are. Yes. And all the TCR cars are. So the best rear-wheel drive car is 6th, which is Paul Simmerson's BMW M4. But battle of a second is still on between Simon Major and Dylan Brichter. There've been no to tell, I think, really since the start. You can see that gap they've pulled out on Darren Ball, which is pretty substantial. They have a car to that, which is the car which was started by Toby Partridge, I think. Louis Woodward in that one as well. They are 4th in Class B, so they've almost lapped sort of majority of the Class B cars. Not yet a quarter of the way in.
3 or 4 minutes away, or about 5 minutes actually, away from the pit lane window being open. Be interesting to see if then drivers do make relatively early stops, because it's just the 1 mandatory 3-minute stop in this race rather than the 2 mandatory 1-minute stops that we had for the 116 trophy race a little bit earlier on.
Gillespie's just done a PB, 1 minute 40.7, which is about the 5th fastest lap of the race, I think, in the Volkswagen. So some cars still improving, while others are fading away, like Darren Ball. He's faded a couple of seconds away from his personal best. Volkswagen Sirocco here, 183. Stephen Cook began it. It's 8th in Class B. It is something like 6th in the Clubman Cup, but it's battling for 23rd in the race with Matthew Stenning's Honda. They're both about to be lapped by the battle for 9th, which has changed on this lap. David Blackie's E92 M3 has gone past Jamie Hadley's Golf, so a change for 9th in the race by the looks of it. And they will come out the final corner. You can see the BMW ahead of the Volkswagen. So that's the battle for 9th, lapping the battle for 23rd in the race at this stage.
Yeah, good battles all the way down, of course. So we've got Scott Parker, number 1, leading the way from number 18, Simon Major in 2nd. So it's Audi from Cooper, then it's Dylan Brick with another Audi, number 6 in 3rd place. Number 25, the Cooper of Darren Ball, is 4th. 22, the Cooper of Luke Brow is 5th. The new number 55 in 6th place of Paul Simerson. 7th, the number treble 4 car of Claire Norman. 8th, the number 78 Audi of Stockford. 9th is number 28, that's David Blackie, and 10th the number 2 is the invitation class car of Jamie Hadley. Class B being led by number 8, Matthew Tidmarsh, by about 5.7 seconds from Will Costigill, number 83. Class C, 195, the leader there. They've won all the races so far this season at Ashmore, and he is well clear of Matthew Stelling in 2nd place within Class C. And a reminder that the classes in Club Enduro based on power to weight ratio basis. So Class A for cars up to 300 brake horsepower per tonne. Class B, the limit is 240. Class C, the limit is 180 brake horsepower per tonne. As we now got this battle continuing on between the Scirocco.
Also, just a reminder for people, there's a question on the stream in comments. I can see what the Clubman Cup means, and it is for cars built before 2010, so it's not related to the drivers, it's related to the cars. So for the older cars that do not have a sequential gearbox, that have a manual gearbox, that's what the Clubman Cup is for, and that's the one championship yet to be decided.
Yes, and that could be cars from any class as well, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So
I don't think any A cars are fitted into that this weekend, but we have seen others in the past. There have been lots of different winners in the Clubman Cup. Will Puttergill and Ryan Bensley have won a couple of times. Ashmore and Sam Dennis won at Croft. Sandro Ballesteros and Bobby Trundley won at Silverstone, and Michael Downey won at Oulton Park. So the only car to have won more than once is the one that actually leads that race at the moment.
Although a slightly different driver lineup, isn't it, this weekend? With Chris Nyland joining Will Puttergill. Ryan Bensley engaged elsewhere this weekend, former Stock Hatch champion.
David Blackie then pulling away from Jamie Hadley. He's up to 9th. He started 18th, so first outing for that E92 M3 is going well. A 42.5, the best lap. It's over a second quicker than they went in qualifying. They had problems yesterday. They seem to be up to speed now. And quickly catching Matthew Stockford. And you can see that on your screen now. So Matthew Stockford coming under threat from David Blackie by the looks of things. Stockford, the former Paralympian medalist. David Blackie in his Club Enduro debut. It's been a consistent season for Stockford. He's had a couple of 4th positions as his best. There's the E92 M3. It's a much larger car than the older models, but it's great to have an E92 back out. Luke Sejakowski took a win, I think, in an E92 a number of seasons ago, but it's good to have another back again. Running there in 9th position at this stage and sharing that car with Josh Lawton, the former road sports race winner. Racing his Civic in Classic Touring Car Thunderstorms this year. But I think back in the 750 Motor Club paddock for the first time this season. Problems yesterday, we're good to see the car out today.
So yes, the 28's car of Blackie and Lawton heading off up the hill past Michael Downey there in the number 76. Boxster, which Josh mentioned, was a class winner in the Clubman Cup. That was an aim for Michael this year, to try and win the Clubman Cup this season. I don't think he's going to manage it, but he's had at least one win. Started racing in 2018, inspired by his father who raced before him. So this now is 7th season of racing in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship, and he travels down from Scotland to do so. Michael, who works in financial services. So pit window is open. I don't think we've had anyone yet making a scheduled stop.
No.
A few unscheduled stops on the timing screen, but none that actually are expected at this stage.
Yeah, it depends on the fuel tank size, doesn't it, usually? You obviously don't want to pit when you can't get to the end of the race. So teams will have that all pre-planned, when the earliest that they can realistically pit, and then you decide whether that's going to work out for your race. Generally, it's better to pit early on the whole. So Blackie's caught Stockford then. The Audi RS3, a great looking car this, but Audi really in almost all forms of motorsport being faded out. There's Audi customer race sort of being closed down to facilitate the Grand Prix programme. This is sort of one of the cars that came out of that programme. Such a successful programme, the Audi customer sport cars, particularly the R8, which they made so many of, won so many GT races with, but where most manufacturers getting involved in sports car racing, Audi's sort of going away unusually. But great to have that car in this championship and running well. Change for second in the race. Dylan Brichter has finally, after many laps of trying, got past Simon Major. So the Audis are first and second. We did hear yesterday Scott Parkin tell Matt Suckling that part of the aim of this weekend is to get a Dark Side Development 1-2 in the Class A Championship. Coming into this weekend, Brichter and Ryan Parkin were 5 points ahead of Andy Schultz and Matthew Hampson, and a point ahead of Darren Ball. So whether they will feel it necessary to do any team tactics, or whether obviously, as it is, I think that's all good for Ryan Parkin and Dylan Brichter to take the championship. First car into the pit lane, by the way, Ian, is Claire Norman. She will hand over to Alan Blenko.
Yeah, with just under 90 minutes of the race, 86 minutes of the race left to go. Be 3 minutes, which is about 2 laps or so, isn't it? That you have to be stationary for, so you need a couple of laps in the pit stop. Everyone out of the car as fuel goes in.
So Claire Norman started this, the double British Women Racing Drivers Club Award winner. It's a 2018 Cupra. It's a Gen 1 car that Alan Blenko Racing purchased at the beginning of the year, and Alan Blenko will be getting into it. The driver who started racing with the 750 Motor Club back in 1999, returning a quarter of a century later. He finished 4th in Stock Catch that year before, just 3 years later, ended up in the British Touring Car Championship.
I think that was the first year of Stock Catch as well, 1999.
Could be, yeah.
Because Hot Hatch was created first. I think that was perhaps about 97, Stock Hatch a little bit later on.
That was right. That's the Brichter car. For a moment, I thought that was Scott Parkin and wondered why he had another car close to him, but no, it was the other one, wasn't it? Side by side for what is now 7th place, with the pit stop for Claire Norman. Matthew Stockford has David Blackie going through. They're about to lap the provisional champions. the car driven by Ashmore. Blackie goes a bit wide, but I think he's got this position done. This progress is really good. I don't think they're going to get any further in this first stint, but it'd be interesting to see what Josh Lawton can do in the second half, because he was really quick in that supercharged Civic that he raced previously. His first outing in the championship in this car. There is Claire Norman giving perhaps last minute advice to Alan Blenko, helping with the driver change as well. Has Scott Parkin set another record lap. The AimShot.com fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 39.146.
Yep, so he's getting away out in front, as you say, Claire Norman helping Alan Blenko back out. You can see the minimum weight sticker there, and that says that car needs to be at least 1,193 kilograms for the amount of power it puts out to qualify for the class it puts in, which is Class A, which is up to 300 brake horsepower per tonne. So the equation is worked out. We know how much power it puts out, so therefore we know what as a minimum it needs to weigh. Now they've just got to wait for the 3 minutes to be up.
Claire Norman, the daughter of Charles Tippett, long time racing driver. So it's a great racing family, that, and they've raced together in the past as well, haven't they, in historic cars. But in this car, probably the most powerful car Claire has raced. It's very different to the BMW, classic BMW that she races, and sort of returning to her front-wheel drive roots that she when she raced in the Volkswagen Racing Cup. At Alan Blenko, probably the most powerful car he's raced too, because it was a production class he raced in the British Touring Car Championship, which would have had significantly less power than the Cupra does. There is Brichter then. He's not getting away from Simon Major since passing him. They're both, though, best part of 20 seconds ahead of Darren Ball, who, of course, was ahead of them in the early stages.
Yes, Ball has dropped away quite a bit, hasn't he? Here's Colin Gillespie in shot here. He's got the Blackie BMW ahead of him. So this is Gillespie. He's back up inside the top 10 now. He's in 8th position, having had that pit stop earlier on when he was showing the black and orange mechanical warning flag. But he's not far away from getting 7th place here, I don't think. We'll have a look into McLean's to see if he can do it there. He can't. These cars both in Class A, of course.
Gillespie is averaging basically the same lap times as Darren Ball, within a tenth of a second. And he goes through into a Coppice to grab 7th away from David Blackie. Probably an unusual moment for David Blackie, because he's been gaining places all the way through this stint, but for the first time he loses one. That's the car due to the unscheduled pit stop that Gillespie had early on. He's got good pace in that X-Wheel Beach Volkswagen Golf that's raced in the TCR UK Championship this year, but Colin Gillespie having his first run out in it in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship this weekend. Just about as many TCR cars in this race as in some TCR UK races, I think.
Yes, certainly are. Here's Gillespie putting a lap on the Lotus. There's the Michael Dowley car into the pit lane, and then you can see the fuel going in.
This is just the second car to have made a scheduled stop in.
Yeah, and you can see there that the wheel covered, lest any fuel will be spilt there. Extinguisher on hand as well. There is Gillespie again, having cleared that BMW. 3/4 of a lap ago. That 15 Golf, it looks menacing, it looks very quick. The 197 car there, you can see is the Daniel Jude Mike Rayner Lotus.
Running 5th in Class B, so that's going well.
It is, yeah, in 18th place overall. Rayner it is that started that car. Blackie now has put a lap on it as well in the number 28 BMW.
See, Gillespie's really pulled away from Blackie, as you might expect. So they turn up towards Coppice. You've got Matthew Stockford in 9th, and he's being chased by Jamie Hadley down the back straight towards the S's. Stockford in 78. Alan James will jump into that halfway. Alan Blenko's getting on with things. Up the curbs, full touring car style. Passing 2 cars in the process. Alan, who's 47 from Wiltshire. He was the Ford Fiesta Winter Series champion in 2000 before he raced an Alfa Romeo in the British Touring Car Championship. But this a 2018 Cupra run by his team Alan Blencoe Racing, as I said earlier, purchased just this year. And over the course of the season they've had a best result of 4th. I wonder if they can replicate that or perhaps go a little bit better. They, after their pit stop, are in 24th position. And Blencoe immediately does a PB, a 141.5, which is a pretty good first effort for Blencoe. So he's got good pace. He qualified that car in 6th. We can see what else he might be able to do.
There's the 28 car just gone through. There is that Matthew Stockford car. And that's still in 9th place at the moment. 9th overall and 9th in Class A as well. Being chased by that Invitation Class car, so it's not scoring points. The number 2 car of Jamie Hadley, the Volkswagen Golf.
I think we've seen some of Hadley in road sports before, so perhaps this is a little dip into seeing what he thinks of these 2-hour races in sight of next year. I think in road sports he did run in Class B, but perhaps that car's been slightly upgraded from there. And obviously doesn't have to run to the power to weight ratio to fit into a class in the invitational division. So we'll see how he enjoys himself and whether we see more of him next season.
Yes, we would hope to see many of these drivers back and teams back for next year in Club Enduro. It's been well supported again this year. Road Sports, the 45-minute brother, if you like, has been even more supported, I think, this season than has Club Enduro. I'm sure there'll be a good number of cars out. It's an attractive format of 2-hour racing for, well, it's actually a mix of different race lengths. We've had one 3-hour race, we've had some 75-minute races, we've had a 100-minute race as well at Alton.
It's sort of what some endurance, well, quite a lot of endurance series are, aren't they? It mixes them up. Means you haven't got the same strategy in every race.
Exactly.
We've had some 1 and 2 pit stop races. I'm sure sort of ideas in what for next year already in the plan. Of course, we had our first trip to Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit this year as well. There's Mike Rayner. He is 11 seconds ahead of Wayne Lawson, who just had a personal best, a 147.8. This Lotus is 3rd in the Clubman Cup as well, isn't it? Behind Will Puttergill and Mark Grice. So it's running nicely. And actually the Clubman Cup leader is just getting a black and white driving standards flag. Is Will Puttergill, who's really pulled clear of Mark Grice. He's only 11 seconds behind Matthew Tidmarsh. I wonder if Will Puttergill and Chris Nyland are looking to go out with a Class B win. They haven't got any success compensation time, so on net they're in the sort of the advantageous place in Class B.
Yeah, so that could certainly work out in their favour as this race goes on. We've not really seen the success compensation at the pit stops come into play yet, have we? But there's a number of teams that do have to serve them.
In Class A, Class A 30 for Scott Parkin, 20 for Dylan Brichter and 10 for Darren Ball. So that's going to drop the Brichter and Parkin car down, isn't it? Or Scott Parkin, talking about his 30 seconds, is about to be served now. But yeah, this could all mix up the Class A order, I think.
Yes, it's basically a 3.5-minute stop then for Scott Parkin. He's not stopped at 45, he's stopped at pretty much 90 degrees into the pit lane there, but that should be absolutely fine. He's obviously climbing out of the car as is required while the refuelling is done.
Remember to take the radio cord out. That twin brother Ryan perhaps getting some images for the social media.
Yeah, lots of a big social media presence for Dark Side Development, so do check out their social channels.
Big support of Birkett Relay as well, coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
That's right. It's 2 weeks' time, less than 2 weeks' time now for the Birkett Relay.
There's the new leader then, which is Dylan Brichter in the slightly less powerful teammate car. So obviously Ryan's not getting into it just yet, is he? If he's doing other duties down there in the pit
exactly.
lane. 4 seconds clear of Simon Major, but with that 20 seconds to serve in the pit lane, it's going to drop this car, number 6, down the order a little bit, certainly behind the Major and Middleton machine. Scott Parkin was only about 20 seconds ahead, wasn't he? So that's why he had to push on so hard, and he might have to continue to push on if he's going to stay ahead of the Simon Major Cupra.
Oh, and there's a car, that's the Matthew Stelling Civic FN2 that's off into the gravel at the old hairpin. He's trying to get it going. There's damage to the back of one of the MX-5s as well. Is that the
Simonite car?
It is the 169 car. James Mansell it was that started that. So whether there's any connection between those two things, I'm not quite sure. Don't know if that car's still in the gravel trap or if it's managed to get out. No, it is still in the gravel trap by the looks of it. The stunning car that's down there at the old hairpin. So you would think if that stays there for much longer, then we know what's going to happen, and that's going to be a caution period, and that could signal some changes. As there's the Browse car we just see going through there. The marshals are on the scene trying to help get that stunning car out of the gravel trap, though. Josh.
Wayne Lawson has pitted. I wonder in sort of response to what might come next. So James Pickford will get aboard that car. The former BTCC podium finisher, race winner in Carrera Cup, raced in the FIA GT3 Championship in the early years as well, did James Pickford. Podium finisher there. He will take over from Wayne Lawson, who started.
So the 169 car has continued on. It's not called at the pits to get something done with that bumper, but that would just be tearing it off, would probably be the most straightforward thing to do at this stage. Still number 1 car stationary, but of course it's a 3.5 minute stop that he's serving. Scott back into the car now.
Safety car.
Yeah, safety car is coming out. That's not a surprise with the Stelling Honda off in the gravel trap at the old hairpin. Team counting down to get that car back into the race.
I suspect this hasn't worked terribly badly for Scott Parkin, has it? Because they'll be able to join on the back of the queue. And a few seconds of his race as I don't know what's happened to Louis Woodward's car here. Is there a red light? That might not work so well for Scott Parkin if there's a red light at the end of the pit lane.
Yes.
The safety car wants to get out,
but
there's a car in the way at the moment.
Yeah. So the safety car is now getting past the number 87 car.
Yeah, Scott Parkin is being held, so this is a drama for our previous race winner. The red lights are on at the end of the pit lane while we get the safety car out in a safe place. So for Scott Parkin, he will have to wait, and for the Toby Partridge Louis Woodward pit stop, that car is waiting. We've already seen that. So that's a twist that we weren't expecting.
The 169 car, which is the MX-5 with the bumper dragging, that's now getting the mechanical warning flag. That will need to come in, as I say, to either get the bumper sort of lashed up or taken off the car. So we've got the safety car waiting at the end of the pit lane to pick up, presumably try and pick up the leading car, which is going to be Dylan Brichter's car.
This is actually going very badly. I think for Scott Parkin, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And for Louis Woodward and Toby Partridge, who were in contention in Class B. For Wayne Lawson and James Pickford, though, this pit stop, the moment not being compromised for them. The other drivers, well, you'd think would be going a little bit slower out on the circuit because they're in a full course yellow period. So it's the luck of the draw, isn't it? If you pit, the safety car comes out. Sometimes you win, other times you lose.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got 71 minutes left of this race. There is the Dylan Brichter car that's just come out of the final corner. Now the safety car has to dash out to try and pick it up.
Of course, this will bring Colin Gillespie back into contention. He was about a minute behind. And this isn't good news, really, for the success compensation time for the Brichter Parkin pairing and the others who have got time to serve as well.
2 cars at the end of the pit lane are just being released now, but they've been sitting there for a couple of minutes.
And how perfect that worked for James Pickford, because his pit stop's just been done and he's heading out onto the circuit. James Pickford, who will be a bronze-ranked driver from next year by the FIA. Perhaps we'll see him out in other racing series because of that. So the safety car has brought everyone under control. Sometimes the safety car can break up the class battles. I don't think that's been a particular situation this time round. Tidmarsh was ahead of Puttergill and Grice in Class B. Class C, we had saw a much larger lead for Ashmore. Second was Ethan Simmons. Third was Thomas Stedman. Stedman and Hooper have had a good few races in that car lately on the podium in Class C. Tom Stedman at the wheel at the moment, only in his second season.
The 197 Lotus has been waved through. Mike Rayner, who was 16th overall and 4th in Class B, so that'll be waved through to join the back of the queue, but then it's Dylan Brichter behind. The 169 car, now that has come in, but they won't be able to make this the mandatory stop.
Got a chunk out the bumper, hasn't it?
I think that's where that's been running on the exhaust, so
yes.
the heater's melted the bumper there. I think that's what's gone on.
That makes a lot of sense. My brain was suddenly thinking, what
Yeah.
what caused that? But yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
But now they've only got half the official sticker that they're required to run, the Club Enduro sticker, because it's been burnt through.
So they turn this in. No, they can't turn this into.
No, they can't, because the safety car's out. It says you cannot take a mandatory stop with the safety car. With the safety car out on track.
But they shouldn't actually lose any time really because of this, will they? I don't think they're going to lose a lap.
It'll just be their position in the queue, really.
Unless they get a red light, of course.
Which is not impossible.
Alan Blenko is basically a lap ahead of Scott Parkin after the pit stops.
Yes, of course, he was the earliest of the cars to stop, really, wasn't he?
Could this really come into their favour, I wonder?
So the Stelling car's now been released back onto the circuit with the help of the snatch vehicle.
So once that's behind the
just
barriers.
a few other cars, by the looks of it, that were just coming through.
Normally takes about a lap, doesn't it, to get the snatch vehicle back, and then we should be good to go. I think we got 9 cars on the lead lap. So William Lynch is the first car a lap down. The first 4 Class B cars are on the lead lap. Tidmarsh, Puttergill, Grice, Rayner. So that means the top 3 in Clubman Cup are on the lead lap. Puttergill, Grice, Rayner. And then in Class C, Ethan Simmons still on the same lap as Ashmore. So that's still 2 up for grabs. But yes, it looks like Alan Blenko is right at the back of the queue, isn't he, I reckon, which means you gain the most time. Because
yes.
And they weren't more than a minute really behind earlier, so this could... And Alan's proved in those early laps he's quick.
There's a car coming into the pit lane there.
Chloe Woodward.
Yes, okay, that's the car that was at the end of the pit lane, wasn't it? So, just wondering if that's going to go straight to the end of the pit lane, right into their garage. Now, what's going on there?
This car, a ex-Nürburgring VLN car, I think, M2, for M235i. So it's like the earlier cars compared to the car that you can see in Class A for Rob Fennick.
Yes, that was the car that was at the end of the pit lane when the safety car was waiting to go out, if you remember. A few minutes ago. So safety car is still out there. Will it be in possibly at the end of this lap? Usually we see the safety car lights switch off around the time it goes on to the Melbourne Loop.
Of course, when cars have their pit stop, some of them get fans put into them, don't they? Obviously, when they're sitting in the pit lane, that's not a possibility. Whether that's been a problem, obviously, I don't know. 2 cars in between the 2 Class B leaders for the restart, Matthew Tidmarsh and William Puttergill. Their best lap's about 4 tenths apart. So that's going to be a battle that goes all the way, I suspect. Although, of course, the Giannetta's got them 30 seconds to serve. So that could make it difficult for Chris Webster in the second half to retain that lead. And the Class A battle could really be mixed up too, with Dylan Brichter and Ryan Parkin having to serve 20 seconds. Darren Ball has 10 seconds to serve. So that's really should go in the favour of Justin Middleton, who will take over from Simon Major. The Browse family could come into contention too.
Safety car lights are out then, so it will pull in at the end of this lap. We've got 65 minutes, just be less than 65 minutes of racing left to go, so we're nearly halfway through this race. The Louis Woodward car was stuck in gear. That's the reason that has had to come in.
I think it's been reset with the electronics and the way it's gone again.
So it's Dylan Brichter in number 6 that's going to lead them up to the line to restart the race. The Lotus has pulled off in the background, the 197 car of Mike Rayner, so Daniel Jude's not going to get a go, I don't think, but the race getting back underway then. Green flag waved with 64.5 minutes of the race left to go. And it is Parkin then that is leading from Simon Major. Dylan Brichter that's leading from Simon Major by half a second as this race gets back underway. Darren Ball, number 25, is third. Luke Browse, number 22, is in fourth position. Colin Gillespie up to fifth. That really has worked out well for him because he's now only 14 seconds behind the leader despite having made that unscheduled stop earlier on in the 55 car of Paul Simonson in sixth. But with Mike Rayner out of the car, is something going to need to be done about that?
Yeah, it's a long way off the circuit on the back straight. We're probably a long way from Marshall, would say. It's a shame because that guy was fourth in Class B. Rob Fennick came into the pits behind the safety car. I'm not sure that can count as a scheduled stop. Well, they're trying to take it as a scheduled stop. I thought we had this discussion, or in 116 trophy racing, that you can't come in when the safety car comes in. Not sure what the case is with Club Enduro. But anyway, battle on for the lead. Dylan Brichter versus Simon Major. And we're going safety car. So the safety car is going to be called before anyone can pit. Yellow flags are out, and Simon Major was drawn alongside Dylan Brichter there as they went out of shot. But is this pit stop legal for Rob Fennick or not, I wonder? To
confirm, it says, for the avoidance of doubt, this is an underlined letters that are highlighted in the final briefing notes for this meeting. For the avoidance of doubt, teams may not follow the safety car into the pit lane in order to make a mandatory stop. So the safety car period does not officially end until all cars have crossed the start and finish line.
And what's the penalty?
Now I've got to turn to a different page for that and see if that is specified on that. But it's effectively going to be stopping outside of the pit window, isn't it? Effectively. 5 lap deduction, I think, applies at the end of the race. Unless they make another 3-minute stop, which will probably negate that.
That would be more beneficial from their
well, it
result.
would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Because it depended if it was a time penalty or a lap penalty.
Yeah,
lap penalties are, as you say, were more significant.
So we hadn't had very much racing when the safety car came back out. It was less than a lap, wasn't it?
Yeah, I imagine they thought it was the best idea, safety car, it's so no one gets an advantage. And then we can go again once that car's brought into a place of safety. And that's brought the two Class B leaders together there in your shot.
Yeah, so the marshal and the driver together and pushing that car out of the way. It was already a long way off, but if they can get it up towards the barriers, then I think we'll be good to go. Obviously not too many marshals at that part of the circuit on the straight, because that's not where you're expecting quite so many incidents. Obviously some kind of technical issue with the car there, but they've got it up against the barrier, so I would have thought they'd be reasonably happy with that now.
Nice light car, helpfully.
Yes, exactly. Compared to some of them on the grid today.
I've seen so many Lotuses this year, have we? But we've had good success in the past. Joe Taylor won the Class A Championship in a lease a few years ago.
There's now a recovery vehicle heading down there as well.
That's true. The Marshal did. For a minute, I thought the Marshal was going away earlier, but perhaps this was expected then for the recovery to be done.
Yes, they'll just try and tow that away.
Mike Rayner hops over the barriers. Jumps in. So we are going to get a lap or two more.
Yeah, so they do want to get that completely cleared off the circuit by the looks of things.
So Blenko is 2 laps down here, and you were reckoning a pit stop takes about 2 laps?
I would have thought so. So 3 minutes plus in and out, that's going to be 3.5 minutes, isn't it, roughly?
It's going to put them right in contention, I reckon. For a pairing that only joined the championship this year. Had some struggles, I think, earlier in the season, but it's been going better recently, and could be going even better today if it carries on as it stands.
So we're now into the second half of the race. It's number 6, Dylan Brichter, and Ryan Parkin leading. Number 18, Simon Major, Justin Middleton in second. 25, Darren Ball in third. 22, Luke and Paul Browse are fourth. 15, Colin Gillespie is fifth. 55, Paul Simerson and Richard Stanton in sixth. 7th, number 28, David Blackie and Josh Lawton. Then in 8th place, number 78, Matthew Stockford, Alan James. 9th, number 2, Jamie Hadley. 10th, number 176, which is William Lynch. Class B is being led by Matthew Tidmarsh and Chris Webster. In 12th position overall, car number 8 from 83, Will Puttergill and Christopher Nyland. And 3rd place in that class is number 27, Mark Rice. Class C is being led by number 195, Ashmore and Sam Dennis. In 15th position overall, and 16th place overall, and second class E is 19th overall, which is Ethan Simmons, number 9, and then third in class C is the Thomas Stedman, Michael Hooper, treble 3, Mazda MX-5 in 21st overall. The Lotus has now been pulled on to basically the national circuit, a bit of the national circuit that we're not using this weekend, and so therefore we should be good to go racing again just as soon as the safety car is next back round.
As we're now into the second half, I wonder if we'll see quite a lot of stops. Obviously not immediately after the safety car comes in, but not long afterwards. So the rescue vehicle's got to go away, but hopefully that can be done before this safety car lap is completed. So I think all three, or certainly classes A and B, very much to play for. Of course, Moore and Dennis are going to have a longer stop. They are quite a bit quicker, but Ethan Simmons, they could get a result out of these first go in this Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship for 9. So he's going solo today. There's the Class B leader, but with a success penalty, which is going to make it difficult for Chris Webster in the second half to get a third win. But with Scott Parkin losing that extra lap, second in the overall championship, still up for grabs there between the Ginetta and the Audi drivers. So that's an interesting battle to watch for as well. In the Clubman Cup, the championship battlers, Buttergill is a lap ahead of Ashmore. There he is, 183. The Class B second place, the Clubman Cup leader, Will Puttergill.
So safety car lights are out. The race is about to get underway then, with 56.5 minutes or so to go by the time they get to the timing line. Dylan Brichter and Ryan Parkin leading, and a reminder that drivers cannot follow the safety car into the pit lane at the end of this lap. That cannot count as a mandatory stop, so they'll have to do at least one more lap before they can make their pit stops, which many of them I think will probably do, because there's now less than half of the race to go. The race gets back underway. 34 laps now in the book. Dylan Brichter leading, Simon Major in second place. Going for the lead around the outside is Simon Major, and Dylan Brichter's half spinning, and he's off on the grass now on the inside of the circuit, and his twin brother is going to take track position from him, although he's a couple of laps down. But it's Dylan Brichter then, the twin brother of the co-driver Ryan Parkin, But now that car is way back down the queue of cars that's going down down towards the old hairpin.
I reckon there was a touch before because there was a bit of bodywork that went, and then obviously you had that contact. Scott Parkin's aim here is to get a lap back, and he is on the inside, because if there is another safety car period, that would work well. 2 more cars have come into the pit lane when they shouldn't have done. David Blackie was one, Mark Grice was the other. So that's 2 contenders for class victories in trouble, I think. But Scott Parkin, while things aren't going well for the other dark side car, better for them because they have got a lap back, which could become important later. But it is Simon Major, the new race leader, in that dramatic restart as he got past Dylan Brichter, who then had a moment. And with the better pit stop time expected for the Cupra, they're 18 than the rivals. Could be interesting. Scott Parkin can't get away here, can he, at this stage of Major?
Well, he's just going to get his head down now. Well, probably quite a few other cars are going to make their way into the pits. Let's see if any of these cars do, or Simon Major's staying out. Darren Ball is staying out there as well.
Brichter's in.
Brichter is in. Probably the right thing to do, having been off the road as well on the previous lap. Just gives a chance to just check the car over as well.
William Lynch is in. Will Puttigill is in. Colin Gillespie is in. So Puttigill, the Clubman Cup leader, in. So that's important. How much damage? Or is it more grass that's the problem here for the Audi?
Some in the wheels, and just making sure it's not going to cause any overheating issues anywhere. That's the concern. Having been off the road.
Sorry, what was looking for could have been a 1-2 for Darkside today. It's less likely than what it looked earlier in the race.
Well, yeah, it might be the case that we can get neither of them in first or second, having looked like a very strong possibility. Certainly before Scott Parkin's pit stop.
Another car, by the way, that pitted when the safety car came in was Tim Parsons in the Caterham. So that's 4 cars that presumably will be under investigation. We've got a battle for the lead because Darren Ball has caught 1.2 seconds to Simon Major. So was that touch? Has that caused a problem for Major's Cupra, I wonder? Parkin getting away, and Darren Ball, who was struggling really before the safety car came out, sort of got a new lease of life. He's got a race win that could be on the cards. He does have to serve a slightly longer pit stop of 10 seconds compared to the car he is racing with, but he's going to give this a go in to lead before he comes into the pit lane, I think.
Yeah, nice little scrap going on here between the 2 Cupras. Out of the final corner they go, up to the timing line, and there's just under a quarter of a second between them. Luke Browse in 3rd position is gaining on them as well. He's just in a personal best lap of the race. He's in a 1:40.560, was 0.6 of a second faster than Darren Ball that time, so he's going to try and buy into this as well. He'll hand over to his father Paul for the second stage of the race.
Matthew Hampson has come in. He was a lap down though, I think, wasn't he? He'll hand over to Andy Schultz, who'll be quicker in that car, I'd imagine. Other cars that have come in, Matthew Stockford in the Audi. So we thought quite a lot of pit stops going through, but we've still got the top 5 leading cars on the lead lap yet to pit. And this great battle between these Cupras up front of Simon Major and Darren Ball. Darren Ball's another driver who's raced a lot of different cars in this championship over the years.
Yeah, he's raced BMWs, Porsches, and some others that I can't remember in the Club Enduro Championship. I mean, he started out in. Did he start out in compact?
I think so.
Darren Ball? I think he did initially, quite a few years ago now.
This car's been driven by a few different people this year as well. Gillespie's been in it. Colin Gillespie, Alok Kingagar has driven that car too over the course of the season.
Yep, so, and Luke Browse has taken a bit more time out of them on this lap as well, hasn't he? He's catching Darren Ball still. There's 2.5 seconds behind at the beginning of the lap. This was the car that came in when it shouldn't have done, Josh, isn't it? The 28 car.
And one of the leaders are going to get a penalty. The 55 Paul Simerson car is going to get a 60-second stop-go penalty for overtaking before the green flag. So that's another car that's in trouble. This car, I think they've got now a bigger problem than pitting when they shouldn't have done because the wheel won't come off.
Yeah.
So that's a drama. So there's lots of dramas going on all of a sudden. But at the point I was going to make, I've lost now. I forgot what that was.
Well, it might come back to you later. It's what happens as you get older, Josh. Luke Browse,
Even older next week.
Luke Browse took another chunk of time out of Darren Ball and took another second out of him. There goes Ryan Parkin now out into the race, then in the number 6 Dark Side Developments car. So we'll see where he slots in a moment. It's just on track behind the VW Scirocco.
It's come back to me. You mentioned how that Luke Browse, he's going really well in this Cooper, isn't he? They've raced that M3 in the past.
Yes.
He seems to have got the hang of the Cooper really well. And he is right there in contention.
Quite a different beast, isn't it? Switching from rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive.
I imagine the Cooper is a little bit more driver-friendly than what the M3 was, but it was a great car, that M3 they had.
It's still trying to change the time on that 28 car with a puncture. This is the Simerson car that's in.
This is a pit stop rather than the penalty. This is an ex-Century Motorsport British GT car. Simerson broke his back last year at Spa in a Ferrari Challenge race and recovered, and now rather than racing I think in Ferrari Challenge wants to race for a bit of fun. He's got his mate Rich Stanton who's in his first season, and they have done the full year in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship. Hopefully they've enjoyed themselves, and the M4's been running well today.
There's the Class C leading car, the 195 car, up to 12th place overall now. Ashmore, that's the car that has won the championship, has had a pretty much unblemished record throughout the season in Class C. Ashmore and Sam Dennis winning all of the races and getting fastest lap in all of them as well. Just couldn't quite pick up maximum points in their class at Alton Park because there weren't enough starters, but otherwise they'd have had a perfect scoring record.
So I reckon Alan Blenko after the stops is 30 seconds ahead of Ryan Parkin. So as Parkin had a 20-second longer stop, that's going to be pretty tight with Middleton when he takes over from Major in the Cooper that leads. The two Class B cars, you said that you thought 2 laps would be the pit stop time, and it must have been exactly that, because Will Prodigal, now Chris Nyland, is exactly 2 laps behind Matthew Tidmarsh, who's yet to pit and he's trying to unlap himself. He's on the inside line into Coppice, and now it's 2 laps minus about a metre or so, Ian.
Yeah, for the moment at least it's minus a metre. We'll see if they can close in. So I wonder when Tidmarsh is going to come in to hand over to Chris Webster. He's trying to sort of relap the number 83 Honda, but couldn't quite manage it down at the Fogarty S's. So number 8 car of Tidmarsh. Have we noticed that penalty before on the car in 12th position, number 9, the Simmons car?
I think it had a black and white driving standards flag, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's track limits for Ethan Simmons. He hasn't pitted yet, so it can't be something for a pit stop.
It's a 5 seconds penalty that's been added to his time.
Gillespie's still in the pit lane, so this is a long stop in the Gulf. We thought that was going to come into contention, but that's not going to happen now.
The 28 car now with Josh Lawton aboard back out into the race, presumably having managed to change that punctured tyre. I was wondering when this car was going to come in, and it's coming at the next possible opportunity. So Matthew Tidmarsh will come in to hand over to Chris Webster. They're up to 4th position overall. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, cars that are still running, but have yet to make their pit stops now.
3 of them are major contenders, aren't they, for the overall victory, with Luke Browse in 3rd, Darren Ball 2nd, and Simon Major the leader. They're all going to be in contention with Alan Blenko and Ryan Parkin. Ethan Simmons is pitting now. And I think he had fallen about half a minute behind Ashmore. There's a lot of steam from the Ginetta, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's just heat, I think, coming off the brakes probably in particular on that car. That's the 171 car. That's one of the cars that's yet to make a stop, which is the E30 BMW.
Just about the oldest car on the grid.
It probably is, isn't it? Senna Osman and Jodie Halson, the 325i 2.5 litre car for the drivers from Kent.
Has the car changed livery since earlier in the year? I feel like I've seen some pictures of the car looking different.
Yeah, I think you may be right. But it looks very smart, doesn't it? Whatever. And it's nice to have some variety on this Club Enduro grid. Lots of the more modern cars, the TCR cars, and other cars of a similar era, but it's nice to see something a little bit different.
You could see behind Scott Parkin is charging on, trying to make up for lost time. It might be all in vain really, because there's a big gap to catch. But he's in the 39s, he's the quickest car out there. I don't think anyone else has been in the 39 all race, have they? And Parkin is going to try and do similar laps to that for the rest of the duration, if he's going to make up some positions. Here's our provisional champion. There. Oh, the steam was perhaps a bit more in from the Ginetta.
Yes, that looks like coolant. Something that's pouring out of the car, so that could prove to be a big problem for the erstwhile front runners in the class. The drivers back in the car, looks like they're going to get it back out into the race and see what happens, I guess. So it's being taken over by Chris Webster now. Christie's just been in to make his pit stop.
Yeah, Matthew Tidmarsh has just jumped in the cockpit, so he's having a chat with Chris, I think. Alan Blenco's up to 4th now, leading pit stopper. But there's our provisional championship winning car, unbeaten in Class C this year. I don't think anyone's been unbeaten in Club Enduro history. So this has been a mighty effort by Ashmore and Sam Dennis. And it just goes to show you can win this championship without having to spend a huge amount of money in Class C for the much less powerful cars. It set a new lap record again. They've done that about every venue this year. 1 minute 47 for Ashmore. 1:47.177 as the best lap, and that puts it a couple of seconds almost under Rowan Lundy's previous time. So Chris Webster's on his way. Is fluid trailing the car? I don't think it is. So perhaps it's just where it was stationary.
Yeah. So fingers crossed for them. It's going to be all good to go.
Blenco still 29 seconds ahead of Ryan Parkin, who is now in a 39 himself. So Ryan Parkin is charging on. There's Alan James, who's just got himself up ahead of Andy Shepherd in that BMW M2, which is one of the cars which we think will have an investigation overhanging their race for the pit stop. When has it got a splitter that's maybe just dropped down a millimetre or so? About of a second in the race, he's almost overlapping as Luke Browse draws alongside Darren Ball, the two Cupras. And yeah, I think that got quite tight, and Alan Blenco is trying to unlap himself. He's got himself ahead of these two cars on that lap, I think. He's lapping, in the 41s, these are in the 42s and 3s, but Luke Browse has done it. He's got himself up ahead of Darren Ball into second place.
Yes, he has now, so that's a good effort from him.
I saw when we saw that earlier shot, Claire Norman intently watching what was going on, and that's probably what was happening, wasn't it, when Alan Blenco was trying to put a lap on or unlap himself from these two cars, because it's crucial not to get caught up, is it, because we think these cars will have a pit stop which will last about 2 laps.
Yeah, that's right. There's Gillespie still in the pits, I think. Been there for a long time now. Yes, it's dropped down to 25th on the timer screen, as various other cars have now gone back. He's 7 laps behind. So I think it's probably safe to say that Gillespie's not going to feature at the sharp end here.
That's right. So they're the 3 Cupras. The top 4 cars are all Cupras, aren't they, at this stage?
Yes, that's right.
Major, Ball, Browse and Blenco.
It's going to be quite an interesting race, this, isn't it?
Just waiting for these last pit stops to see how it all plays out. Darren Balls has got an extra 10 seconds for success compensation time, so that might draw him away from this battle. But where Alan Blenco plays in, that's the big question really at this stage. And he is lapping quicker than Luke Browse. He's lapping about the same time as Major.
Browse coming in to hand over to his father Paul, we assume, to hand over anyway to his father Paul from what had become second position, and Darren Ball has followed him in as well. So these two drives that were in second and third, stopping at exactly the same time. So will they go out in the order in which they arrived? We'll find out in 3 minutes or so.
The Stowmarket glass livery is a really good one, isn't it? It worked well on the BMW and it works well on the Cupra too.
Yeah, and always gets them plenty of mentions on the commentary as well, because it's just in your face, isn't it? So they get plenty of advertising.
It's a different colour to motor race cars, and that's something that stands out. Is always a good thing. So fuel going in. Ethan Simmons, who was going well,
is driving home, I think. He's about to leave the circuit at the Melbourne hairpin. He was well up. He got that penalty, had to track limits penalty.
I think he was still second in Class C before he pulled off.
Yeah, that's a great shame for him. All hands to the deck there, trying to get the car back out. Looks like the Class C champion and the overall champion's going back out into the race, so Sam Dennis taking over.
As you might expect, after the pit stop for Matthew Tidmarsh and Chris Webster, they're half a minute behind Chris Nyland and Will Pattergill, the 30 seconds success compensation time.
So back out into the race goes Sam Dennis, just in front of Alan James, as it now is, in the Audi, number 78.
Blenko, clear of the traffic, was half a second quicker than Simon Major, and that could be the battle for the win yet in this. Looks like Scott Parkin's about a minute behind Ryan, so that's the chase that's going on there. He's got to pass Alan James first.
Yeah.
Battle for 10th on the screens there. Rich Stanton and Andy Schulz. I suspect Schulz will be quicker. He's much more experienced. Stanton only in his first season, the 40-year-old from Warwickshire. Schulz has been racing since 1989. Former 750 Motor Club Formula 4 champion.
That's right.
Was Andy Schulz.
Back in the 90s, that would have been, I think.
He was a Brit car champion as well. Racing Formula Ford Z-Tech. Racing the Bronkpile Endurance Series. So, yeah, super experienced driver. Probably the most experienced driver on this grid, I would think. And he's about to get 10th position away from Rich Stanton.
Yep, so two similar cars there, swapping positions. And Schultz making up ground. We'll see if he can make up any more places. Could possibly catch the Hadley Golf, I suspect.
James Pickford's got himself up to third in Class B, I notice, but he is about a minute behind Chris Webster, so I don't think he'll get any further. His lap time is only a couple of attempts slower than the Pattergill Nyland Civic, so very competitive. It's James Pickford, as you might expect.
There's Darren Ball, shortly to get back out into the race. Just in the background, you can just see a glimpse of the green Luke and Paul Browers car.
So where's Alan Blenko in 444?
Of course it should be, yeah, the green car, the Browse car's now gone back out into the race.
Blenko just crossed the line, so it's going to be really close.
Here comes Browse then, Paul Browse as it now is, has taken over the car.
Blenko's out of Redgate rather, so he's ahead.
So there we go, yep, there you can just about see them in the distance.
It's going to be really close with Major and Middleton stop where Alan Blenko is.
Exactly, yeah, and obviously Darren Ball had that extra time to serve in the pits, another 20 seconds, another 10 seconds, sorry, so that's why he's not out just yet, not quite in contention here, but we'll see if he can make up some time in the final half an hour or so.
There's Blenko shooting through shot there. And yeah, he's about 5 seconds or so ahead of Paul Browse.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what lap times Paul is able to do compared to Luke. Luke's best was a 1:43.515. Blanco's done a 1:41.575. I'm probably not expecting Paul to be faster than Luke. Maybe surprised by that, but that would suggest that puts Blanco in a good position.
Blanco's averaging a 41.6. Ryan Parkin a 40.8. He's 27 seconds behind now. I don't think he's got enough laps, has he, to catch.
Yeah,
so it's going to be between the Cupras for the win, I think.
Beg your pardon, reading the wrong column. Blanco's best time of 1:47.37. Luke Vaz 1:45.60. but even so, probably expecting Blanco to be faster of the two drivers in the remaining part of this race. A penalty now for the Simerson and Stanton car. That's a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Richard Stanton, who's taken over in that car now.
Those potential penalties overhanging cars, I don't think are for major positions, are they? So
I don't think they will be, no, Josh, because, well, we'll see with that. But let's head down to the pit lane now. It's going to be Luke Browse who's going to speak to Matt Suckling.
Thanks, Ian. Yep, down here with Luke Browse, who's just jumped out the number 22 Seat. Luke, that was a fantastic stint, a long one, but you did a really good job.
Yeah, not too bad. It was all going really well, and then after about 35 minutes, the car cut out on the back straight, so I had to do a complete reset, but it got going and no dramas since. Obviously, safety car really saved us there. We could close back up and go again, reset. So yeah, all looking good at the moment. Trying to keep out of trouble, and yeah, all going well.
And you're running in a really good position. You're inside the top, well, 2 or 3 at the minute.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we've come out after pit stops, obviously when we went deep. The 444 car obviously had pitted before us with new tyres, and he came back on me at a rate of knots, so I think we'll come out behind him. Yeah, and we'll just see how it pans out. Really, it's difficult to know at this stage. We need to sort of give it 10 minutes to just everything to calm down after pit stops, and yeah, see where we're actually sitting.
I love it as well. You jumped out of the car, you got straight onto the air jacks, you got the car up, changed the tyres, and it was kind of all just you lot doing it all together.
Yeah. We love endurance racing, but we're a small team, and yeah, they definitely needed new front tyres after that first stint. Yeah, wheel nuts were a little bit hot, but yeah, it was needed.
What do you reckon Paul can do? Where do you reckon you're going to finish?
Hopefully he can, if we're inside the top 4 or 5, we'll be really, really happy with that. Hopefully Paul's got fresh tyres now, so he can just maintain some standard laps, you know, just settle in and yeah, pick up a rhythm. It's always difficult when you go out with only 30 minutes to go, you know, and everyone else has been in the car for half an hour, so hopefully it benefits him. He's fresh and ready to go.
Luke, great job. We'll let you get back and see how you get on.
Appreciate it. Take care.
There we go. Luke Browse down here in the pit lane. Happy with his stint. Paul now into that number 22 machine, guys.
thanks, Matt. Great to hear there from Luke Browse. Dad at the wheel now. Paul Browse, he's in the 43s on his first flyer, so not quite as quick as Alan Blenko and Simon Major, but he's doing okay. He's 8.7 seconds ahead of Darren Ball, so a podium isn't out of the question still here at all. With Ryan Barkin quicker than the pair of them in 5th place and chasing. So the win, it looks like it's going to be between Justin Middleton and Alan Blenko. And it could well be advantage Blenko. I think he's lapping quicker than Simon Major. He's actually keep catching him on the road, isn't he? That's what we're watching here. The top 2 in the race, 2 laps between them, but with about a 2-lap pit stop to come for that car there, the 18 car that leads. For Simon Major still. They've still got 18 minutes when he can make that pit stop. So they're hanging it out. Be a short stint for Justin Middleton, and we'll see how much pace he has got in comparison to Alan Blenko. Whether they change tyres and have a fresh tyre run to the end, because we heard that from Luke Browse, how much of a difference that can make.
Yeah, so the only car that's still running that's yet to make a stop besides the leading car is the Osman and House BMW.
It was coming in while you were reading it off
there
the screen.
Perfect timing. So there it is, heading down the pit lane now, the 171 E30 BMW heading into the pits, respecting the pit lane speed limit, which is good to see, and making its stop now, just pulling in outside the garage, and plenty of time, 3 minutes to make the driver change.
Class C podium might not be out of the question for that car, which would be a good result if they could manage it. Looks like Tom Steadman and Mike Cooper are going to go up to 2nd, which would be an excellent result for them. There's Major sliding around on those older tyres. Alan Blenko continuing to chase the 47-year-old from Wiltshire, looking to win a 750 Motor Club race, I think, for the first time in 25 years. That would be quite a feat. And obviously, if he manages it, that would be, I think, the first win for a female driver in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship for Claire Norman, which would be a history-making moment.
Yeah, can't think that there's been one before. So that would be an excellent result indeed.
That might to help her get another British Women Racing Drivers Club award, I would think.
Yeah, potentially so. Black and white driving standards flag has gone out to car number 193 now. That's the Richard Mitchell, Tim Parsons Caterham 7.
Here's Parkin. Scott Parkin. He's 6th now, 55 seconds behind his brother Ryan. He's averaging a couple of tenths of a second a lap quicker, but not a result's going to come out of this. He'll be glad that he wrapped up the championship provisionally last time out at Oulton. Otherwise, that could have been more difficult. So down into the right-hander at the old hairpin for last year's champion, Scott Parkin. He's past Alan James now, 4-6.
Yeah, here we go, up towards McLean's once again.
We're going to have a lot of cars on the lead lap, I think, here, which perhaps more than we've ever had before, I reckon.
Yeah, quite a few potentially.
7 or maybe 8. We'll see when it all ravels out, but I think there'll be quite a few.
Yeah, it's been a competitive race, hasn't it? And that sort of issue with at the end of the pit lane, that sort of slightly messed up things for Scott Parkin. But
didn't mess up with the entertainment of the race, I don't think.
No, it's probably added to the entertainment of the race, I would say, from our point of view as a neutral, or neutrals. So next car is going to lap is going to be the Caterham. But we're going to head down to the pit lane once again now. Matt Suckling is going to speak to Matthew Tidmarsh.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, down here with Matthew Tidmarsh, who had a first stint in the Ginetta. Everything go okay, Matt?
Yeah, pretty good. Built a nice 12-second lead, and then the safety car came out, and yeah, that was our plan to win gone today. You know, we knew we had the pace over the Honda, but with the 30-second penalty in the pit stop, I needed to get a good 15-second lead to give Chris a chance to catch, and then hopefully pass in the closing stages. But now he's 30 seconds behind, so that's not going to happen today. It won't be another win for us unless the Honda has a problem.
You were just talking to me though about how close it might be in the overall place of the championship in seconds.
Yeah, so coming into this round, we were 3rd overall, just 4 points behind Scott Parkin in the dark side Audi, and I jokingly said to Scott before the race, if we win and set fastest lap and you come second and don't set fastest lap, we'll beat you by a point. He nodded his head and then said something to me which I can't repeat on camera. So yeah, so good. So as things are at the moment, if I've got maths right, Chris is P2, we've got fastest lap in Class B. Scott's got fastest lap in Class A, but he's running P6, so he'd pip him by a point. If Scott can catch the car in front of him, it's about 50 seconds up the road, he would be equal to us on points, but he has one more win, so he would take second. So yeah, so fingers crossed we don't have any more safety cars.
You're keeping a really keen eye on it, aren't you, with what's going on in that class and also what's going on in yours, but at the minute it looks quite good for you.
Yeah, at the moment it looks good, yeah. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Good stuff. Thanks for your time, Matt.
Cheers, thank you.
There we go, Matthew Tidmarsh down here in the pit lane, doing all the maths for you, Ian, so you don't have to do it yourself.
That's very good of him, isn't it? But I've still got my spreadsheet, and we'll keep that running. Probably when we get into all the pit stops done, it's worth just trying to slot some points into that spreadsheet just to see how everything is going to work out. There is the car of the driver we were just talking to, just behind that one actually. There is the race leader on track. That's the Simon Major car. He's going to hand over to Justin Middleton probably quite soon now, maybe even this lap. But we were just talking to Matthew Tidmarsh, who co-drove the blue and orange Ginetta that Chris Webster has just disappeared over the crest of the hill in.
Just a glimpse there of Paul Browse, who's now 5.7 seconds ahead of Darren Ball. And on the last lap was quicker than Alan Blenko, was Paul Browse. So like son Luke, they're both enjoying this car. Blenko now caught up behind behind Simon Major, who's still got to hand that one over, as you were saying, Ian. And he has pulled out generally more over Paul Browse, a gap 12 seconds. Darren Ball, the quickest of all at the moment, in the 41s. It's 4.3 seconds behind Paul Browse. So the podium position's really up for contention, because there, Ryan Parkin's only a further 8 seconds behind Darren Ball. See, there's been some comments on the chat about these dark side cars and saying how good they've developed these diesel machines. They're not really doing any pollution, are they, out the back, unlike diesel race cars traditionally have done. So these two cars fantastically developed. They're really quick cars, and Darkside Development's a great partner as well of the 750 Motor Club in promoting a lot of the championships and events as well.
Absolutely, yes. You used to have a few diesel cars in the VW Cup, didn't you? And several of them used to sort of spew sort of plenty of black smoke out of the back of them. Also, the van in the VW Cup as well, didn't you? A couple of different vans that raced in the VW Cup as well over the years. don't think anyone's raced a van yet in Club Enduro.
We had the old Joel's Lock car was bought, wasn't it? And then had a big crash in Road Sports. I don't know if you remember at Silverstone. I think on its first outing, and I think it was pretty destroyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, we never had one in Club Enduro. Have we had any estates or anything like that? I don't think so.
Don't get many estates these days, do you?
Not since '94.
No. 25 minutes or so to go. Simon Major's got only about 10 minutes to go before he has to make the stop before the pit window closes.
Darren Ball on a charge round the outside of the traffic, and he's almost caught Paul Browse. That gap was 4 seconds at the start of the lap.
It's 7/10 now, isn't it? That's remarkable.
I wonder if Paul Browse got a bit caught up in lapping Andy Shepherd's BMW in 8th position there, and that's really brought Darren Ball back to him. The battle for 3rd place and in the race. The Browse family, I don't think have had a podium before, have they, in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship? They've had some decent results this year, though. Just lapping the MX-5. Darren Ball, he's been on the podium before, and he'd like to be on the podium again. He was 3rd, wasn't he, last time out at Alton Park?
And also at Brands earlier on in the year on the Grand Prix circuit as well.
So he is in the chase, well and truly, isn't he? They're 16 seconds behind Adam Blenko now, so I think the race win is out of the question. There's Ball hopping over the curbs out McLean. Browse defending. And if you defend too much, Ryan Parkin could close. He's only 8 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's going to just appear any moment over the crest of the hill. We don't quite stay Lincoln long enough on that shot to see that, but he should be in the background shortly, down towards the S's they come. Fogarty S's going past the Matthew Stelling Honda.
Car was skittering around on the brakes, Darren Ball. So these cars probably have ABS, so I imagine it was in the ABS there and it was sliding around on the brakes. And now around the outside into the Melbourne hairpin comes Darren Ball in the Williams Motor Company liveried car. That livery on quite a few cars now in the championship. And he's still trying to make a way past Paul Browse on the outside. Browse all over the curb. The Caterham's ahead of Richard Mitchell, who's going to feel very small in a moment. As two Cooper Doyle have made contact, I'm afraid. And Richard Mitchell's got caught up in that, no fault of his own. Paul Browse's car's in the wall. Darren Ball has carried on. Ryan Parkin's obviously going to join in, but well, I feared it could get a bit tight for Richard Mitchell. I don't think we were expecting that. There is Mark Grice's car's come into the pit lane in a plume of smoke. Well, the drama is very much on at the moment.
It's all happening right underneath us as well, because the Paul Browse car has come to a stop only about 50 yards away from our commentary position, if that. Darren Ball did continue, but he may well have picked up damage to his car. But yes, it's a shame that has ended that way.
Now, if the safety car isn't called before Major gets to the pit lane, which Blenko will be hoping it will be, well, can he make his pit stop as well if the safety car does get called before the window closes?
I don't know what the rules are on that, and I'm not sure that the bold underlined text on these instructions is explicit about what happens there.
Not been called yet. If it doesn't, before they get there, this will be a major advantage. I know safety car is out, although it's not on our screens, bizarrely. No, the safety car is on the circuit.
Yeah, but it's now showing on the screens and on the lighting panel. So safety car is out. So Simon Major is just too far away to really be able to pit this time. He cannot legitimately, according to the laws of the race, pit this time, and he stays out. And he's got to gamble on this being cleared in 7 and a bit minutes.
Well, less than that, because he can't pit the lap the safety car comes in.
Exactly. I'm not quite sure what the rules are now. Let's have a read of these again.
This is always the problem if you pit too late in a safety car period. So the safety car is out as you would expect with that incident on the start and finish line.
Yes, so the medical car just as well heading to the scene to just check over the drivers who I think are still in their cars at the moment, of the Caterham and the Browse Cupra.
Oh, Richard Mitchell's given a thumbs up to the marshal, I can see, so that's good news.
I imagine that both probably have, which is why the marshals were standing aside. The rescue vehicle, MSV rescue vehicle, is now arriving on the scene as well. It's a bit of a smoky pit lane after the Grice car came in. So we've got medical cars stopped on the start and finish straight as well. We've got 20 minutes of the race left to go. Safety car has picked up the 83 car, which is the car that is leading in Class B of Chris Nyland now at the wheel of that car.
Richard Mitchell climbing out of his car, so he's okay, which is good news for Richard, because that would have been a bit of a surprising moment for him, and a big heavier car obviously hitting the Caterham. Probably a car that weighs a couple of times the Caterham does. Yeah. And that car is due to be out the Burkett, the Caterham, so hopefully, because I know Richard Mitchell's putting together a team for that.
Fingers crossed that it'll be back out in a couple of weeks' time. So the queue forming up behind the Renault Megane safety car here at Donington Park, and this Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship race. Both drivers now out of their cars, which is good news. So the question now is how quickly these cars can be recovered. There's 20 minutes of the race left to go.
The safety car's not going to be in with another lap done before 15 minutes to go, is it?
No.
That is for sure. So I don't know if we can get some confirmation of what might happen in regards to that pit stop. So we haven't had anything from the others that pitted the lap the safety car came in, have we? Which we thought there might be a question mark over. In the Clubman Cup, by the way, and the Class B and C leaders are both Motion Motorsport cars. So what a day they are having. What is the points difference there between those two? Coming in on drop scores, it was 2, wasn't it? So Puttergill's car is the one in favour.
So if this car can't make a stop, it's going to get a 5-lap penalty, isn't it? I think.
You think that's
based on the reading of the rules. I mean, I'm just going to message now to see if I can get any other ruling on that.
And if Giles might be able to help out with that. Potentially busy in the pit lane. So Darren Ball, on your screen now, has moved up to 3rd. Ryan Parkin is 4th. Scott Parkin is 5th. And Alan James is 6th. So I reckon we're going to get 5 cars on the lead lap in the end. The other thing that hasn't happened yet is getting the leader behind the safety car.
Yeah, well, how far?
Oh, so we will have 6 cars on the lead lap because Alan James will be there, I think. So that if we get 6 cars on the lead lap, that's an impressive number, I think.
It is. So 18.5 minutes of the race left to go. We're under safety car here in the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship after this coming together between Darren Ball and Paul Browse as the cars exited the Goddard hairpin and came on to the start and finish straight, the Wheatcroft straight, and it resulted in the Paul Browse Cupra heading off into the barriers, also collecting on the way the Caterham of Richard Mitchell. And both of those cars, Mitchell and Paul Browse, are stranded on the grass on the side of the circuit just beyond the start line. The medical car and the rescue vehicle, those have both disappeared now, probably just taking the drivers to the medical centre for checks, as would be normal in those situations. So it's now about the recovery of the cars. I don't think there's any sort of barrier damage or anything like that to worry about, as it was effectively hit the concrete wall.
Yeah, I don't think a concrete wall's going to give too much, is it?
So
not sure if that's the mark on the wall there. We can see.
I don't think I saw that mark earlier. That may be well Paul Brow's car hit.
Perhaps it's a bit of a bigger hit in the wall than I first thought. Probably better that went into the concrete wall than the Caterham, though.
Yeah. Right, snatch vehicle is here. I think that's going to try and deal with the Paul Brow's car first. The marshals are trying to manhandle the Caterham out of the way. Probably the right way, way around, because that probably is physically possible.
So if we have 15 minutes to go, I think TSL are put into the system the penalties, won't they? I think. So hopefully it'll become obvious before the race is finished. Well, Justin Middleton, hope he hasn't put too much of a budget towards his programme because he hasn't done much driving. No. If he's going to drive at all in this race.
No, it's looking a little bit unlikely now, isn't it, as to what might happen.
But I don't really know why you would leave your pit stop so late, because there's always this risk that there could be a safety car period.
Yeah. I think the word is that we think it probably would be a 5-lap penalty for not making a stop because yes, there is always the risk, isn't there, that if you leave it too late. So although what it effectively means is that although that the window closes 15 minutes from the end of the race, you probably always have to build in a little bit of a comfort blanket there, don't you? Just for safety.
Well, there's no real need to leave your pit stop so late.
No.
And strategically, as we've seen from Alan Blencoe and Claire Norman, it's always better to stop earlier in these races. I don't think there's any strategical gain from pitting late. So
we can rule that car out of contention, I think, now.
It's what can Ryan Parkin do on the restart, and possibly Scott too, although he's got a lot more lap cars between them, because they are both quick. They are quicker than the Cupras in their Audis. They've been in the 139. It depends how many racing laps we get.
They've got the Cater up against the barrier, and they seem to be happy to leave that there. And they are still dragging away the Cupra of Paul Browse. So just a pit lane window normally closes in about 20 seconds time.
Warm enough for t-shirts here at Donington Park.
Evidently. I've got a fleece on in here. I'm inside. And now there is a recovery vehicle heading towards the Caterham, I think. So possibly they're, having parked it neatly, they're now going to try and drag that out of the way as well, with the assistance of the MSV pickup truck.
Pit window closed, confirmation on our screens, and the race leader has not pitted. So perhaps Matt, I think it's garage 36 where the team are based. Perhaps Matt might be down there and seeing what sort of reaction they have. Yeah,
so that's going to be the treble 4 car, which effectively then will be in the lead, which is Alan Blencoe, having taken over from Claire Norman. Darren Ball, 25, we think will be second. Dylan Brichter, and now Ryan Parkin will be third. Scott Parkin will be fourth. Alan James, Matthew Stockford will be fifth. And was that the car just going down the pit lane? Was that yes, it was. The major car has just come into the pit, so it's A, done it behind the safety car, and B, done it outside the pit window. Was that a 10-lap penalty? I don't know. Yes, in 6th place it's Stockford and James, 7th it's Fenwick and Shepherd, 8th it's Hampson and Schultz, 9th it's Hadley, 10th it's Simerson and Stanton, Class B being led by Puttergill and Nylan from Titmarsh and Webster, and Lawson and Pickford. Class C being led by, guess who, Moore and Dennis from Stedman and Hooper, and Osman and House in the BMW E33 series in 3rd place.
So, on average in this stint, Blencoe's done a 41.6, Ball's done a 41.5, Ryan Parkin's done a 41.0, Scott Parkin's done a 40.4. So the top four, who would be the top four in this race, so we've got the 5-lap penalties coming in now, for 10, 27, 28 and 193. But my point is, the top four in the race here, Ian, they are in reverse order of their pace in this stint. So this race isn't over yet, assuming we do get to the race back underway, of course.
Yeah, and those 5-lap penalties for people that made their stops by following the safety car in when, on the 2 occasions, it was out in the middle of the race.
We've still got the penalty to be awarded for our leader, haven't we?
Yeah.
They might as well just do this pit stop as quick as they can, really, mightn't they?
Yes. I mean, probably would have been better not to have made it at all if they could have got to the end, I suppose.
Well, unless Justin Middleton wants to do some driving.
Not very much driving. But anyway.
What's the clause in the contract? So, assuming Chris Nylon gets wave through, that will give them a big advantage over the Ginetta, won't it? If it doesn't get wave through, we've got a Class B battle. Because I know some endurance championships, the rules is just pick up a class leader, because that's what we've got here, is a class leader. They're still doing the 3 minutes, so they're not trying to break every rule in the book.
No, anyway, it's a bit of a shame because they've gone really well, and had that safety car not happened, they would have been with a real chance, I think, of if not winning, then certainly being in the top 3.
Yes, we missed out on the battle between Justin Middleton and Alan Blencoe, which we were expecting, but we might have a different battle instead between Alan Blencoe, Darren Ball, Ryan Parkin and Scott Parkin.
It's just a question of how much racing we're going to get, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
With 11.5 minutes left to go. Yeah, checking the time. Checking that they've done 3 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, someone says in the pit lane. Yeah, so anyway, pushing the car back out into the race. And they will rejoin with 11 minutes left to go. Safety car still out. I think the circuit is now clear as far as I can tell from my commentary box window. You can't see anything else out there.
Are we going to wave the cars through to get Alan Blenko behind the safety car, I wonder?
Yeah, can't see what's going on there. Oh, and now Middleton's being left there at the end of the pit lane. So the cars are heading, I think the leading car's heading down the Melbourne loop at the moment. We'll soon see whether we're going to get a wave through or not. Safety car lights are still out. They've got a 2-lap penalty for having their engine running in the pit stop. So that's a rule we hadn't thought about.
Are there any rules in this pit stop rule book that they haven't broken?
Right, they've done the wave through because they go.
But Alan Blenko's been waived.
But
that has not gone well for the race.
Well, and that's because that was the leading car. The 18 car was still the leader on the timing screen, Major and Middleton.
But Darren Ball is behind the safety car. He hasn't been waved through.
Okay, right, this is not going well. So there's the Middleton car as it now is. That is continuing on its way.
They've got now a 5-lap penalty.
5-lap penalty. So is that 7 laps?
Yeah.
Didn't say I might not have been joking about that 10 laps earlier on. So the safety car has now picked up Darren Ball in the 25 car, which is the car that would normally be in second place once all of the penalties have been applied.
So this race of the win might have just not going to be happening now, is it?
Yes.
And hopefully Alan Blenko was being waved through and he didn't go past anyway.
Yes, and he just yeah, who knows? We didn't see it happen.
That's right. Fingers crossed that didn't happen.
So, yeah, anyone's guess what's going to happen here in the remaining 9 minutes of this Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship race here at Donington Park.
I presume you agree that William Puttico and Chris Nyland are on for the Clubman Cup Championship. Ian?
I'll get the spreadsheet out. I probably can do that now. I've got a minute or two. So how many points are they going to pick up?
15, at least, maybe 16.
Let's assume 15 for Nyland and Pottergill. What do we think?
12.
Well, Dennis, they're going to get 12. Nothing for 1 for Trundley and Ballesteros, and Hayes and Subiani the same. So yeah, I would go for that by a point.
Yeah,
I think they'll get the Clubman Cup.
So what are we doing then about the rest of the race is the next question. The safety car lights are still on. We're not looking to wave anybody else through seemingly. So on the road, Justin Middleton is the leader. He's got a load of penalty. Alan Blenko is second. And Darren Ball in third is the car behind the safety car.
Yeah.
I think it would be much easier just to keep the Class B leader behind the safety car.
With the benefit of hindsight, yes, wonderful thing.
But there's nothing wrong with that really. The safety car lights are out. And I suspect there will be some discussions post-race about how this has been handled. So for Alan Blenko and for Claire Norman, Alan's just now got to drive sensibly, hasn't he? No risk on this restart. Just drive around for a few laps.
Yeah. So safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap. There's 7.5 minutes of the race left to go. It's being led effectively now by the Treble 4 car of Alan Blenko. 25 Darren Ball will be in second place, and Ryan Parkin in third.
What it does mean, Ian, is Chris Nyland versus Chris Webster's on for the Class B lead, because they both got waved through, so more than just Alan Blenko got waved through in that. So the Class B lead battle is on, and obviously for second place in the race is on, because Ryan Parkin is chasing after Darren Ball with 4 laps, I think, of the race to go. Yeah.
So 4 laps, I think that's about right, isn't it? Safety car has come in. Darren Ball then is the first car going past all of these green flags. He's got Ryan Parkin now chasing after him. So this is the battle for second place then, with Ryan Parkin can close in over these remaining 4 laps of the race. Down through the corner curves and towards the old hairpin they will go. And then it is going to be Scott Parkin, isn't it, that will be in 4th position. lots of blue flags as well, because there's lots of back markers to be overtaken by quicker cars as the restart takes place. So up towards McLean's they go, and Coppice corner. Parkin not, catching ball at a rate of knots here, certainly, but he might well have a chance to do so in the remaining 3.5 laps.
There are more penalties. This time for Fenwick and Shepherd. They'd already got 5, hadn't they?
Yes.
But this is another rule that's been broken. This time the driver in the car while refueling. The last one for the other car was the engine on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think some people have forgot the rules in the last round of the championship. And these people have been doing the championship really all season, so they should know the rules.
Very strange. Down into the Melbourne hairpin go the second and third place cars, Darren Ball and Richter. Alan Blanco has been across the line to complete his 57th lap, and the next two are about to come through. The black and white driving standards flag is Garrett's car 169. That's the Simonite and Mansell MX5. They had a black and orange flag earlier on, so they're collecting flags during the course of this race. So as they come across the line with probably 3 laps to go now, it's still showing as Middleton leading on the screen, of course. But they have got that penalty. So it's Blanco who is basically 2/3 of a lap ahead of Darren Ball, having been sort of released by the safety car mistakenly, we think. And then it's Ryan Parkin in 3rd place, 2.4 seconds behind. And then Scott Parkin 4th, 12.4 seconds behind his twin.
For Class B, Chris Webster is 2.6 seconds behind Chris Nyland, was half a second quicker on that lap. So the chase is on in Class B.
Yep, so that could change around. Here's Scott Parkin going past the 55 car, which is a lap down. One of several cars to have penalties. There's the race leader going through, 444, which is Blanco. The thing is, I suppose the check flag still is going to get shown here to Justin Middleton, isn't it?
Although on the lap normally before, then lap penalties get applied on the screen. So we could get the point where we forget which car needs a checkered flag. Who knows?
It's all going to be a very confusing finish to this Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship. Just as well the championship was resolved at Alton Park in the last meeting, really. It's not all come down to this.
It's a shame because it's been a good race, really, hasn't it? There's the leader on the road, just ahead of Alan James, who is 6th at the moment, but will be a top 5 finish with that penalty that will be applied to Justin Middleton. And by the looks of things, if the race had run naturally, Alan Blanco's got quite a lot more pace than Justin Middleton. He closed in by a number of seconds on that previous lap. Here he is. Looking for they haven't had a podium, have they? Claire Norman and Alan Blanco, but the race win looks on here with a couple or so laps to go for the 444 car.
Yeah, so they've crossed the line with 3 minutes and change remaining, so it is going to be 2 more laps to go, isn't it, for Alan Blanco, we think. There's the orange Porsche of Michael Downey that's just been lapped by Blanco.
Sam Dennis, who was 2nd in the Clubman Cups, dropped to 4th because Ed Cook in the Sirocco, on for a good result, up to 2nd in the Clubman Cup, and Downey, who you just mentioned, up to 3rd. So Sam Dennis has dropped to 4th in the Clubman Cup, which is even more proof that William Buttergill, Chris Nyland and Ryan Bensley will be Clubman Cup champions this year.
I think if everybody won the overall championship, though, then you're not too worried about the Clubman Cup, are you, really? So, this race...
Well, they were put on their social medias that was one of the things they were looking for, to see if they can take everything. Well, Motion Motorsport are going to win a lot, aren't they? Because they will get both. Alan Blanco has got himself ahead of Justin Middleton then and onto the lead lap as the timing screen show, but we know that the penalties are coming for the 18 machine. So we're going to have 1 more lap to go at the end of this. And this will be a 4th different winning car this year. Scott Parkin has had those 3 wins at Brands Hatch, Snetterton and Alton Park. James Collins and Joel Oswit won the opener at Croft, and Ryan Parkin and Dylan Brichter won at Silverstone. So despite the Cupra's being probably the most numerous cars in Class A, they haven't actually won any races this season. Not sure if they've won a race since we had Cole Swift in one.
Yeah.
So it's sort of going back to days of a few seasons ago. Other cars are quicker, but the Cupras are reliable and more numerous. So Alan Blencowe on to the final lap of the season. I think despite how the restart went, I think this was the car that was on course to take the victory, wasn't it? Alan Blencowe's taking no risk now. His lap times are much higher than they were. But it's going to be a deserving win. Claire Norman drove well in the first stint, didn't she? Kept the car in contention, and they got the right strategy. They were the guys that came in before before the safety cars come out, made an early stop because they know that's a strategical call to make, and then Alan Blencowe pushed on, kept the car in contention, and then it's been there when it matters, and he has half a lap to go. We're not sure what car's going to get the checkered flag in all of this, so they might have another lap to go at the end of this if it is waved to the 18 machine. But history going to be made for the first female winner of a Tegiwa Club Enduro race with Claire Norman, and Alan Blencowe taking his first win in a 750 Motor Club race, we think, for 25 years when he raced in Stockhatch.
Darren Ball and Ryan Parkin have just got across the line, still separated by about 2.4 seconds. They lapped to within 6 1,000ths of a second of one another on the last lap. They are going to be the cars that we think are going to be classified second and third here. Alan Blencowe, as the clock now counts down to 0, emerges from the Goddard's hairpin. The Melbourne hairpin heads up towards Goddard's, as I say. Now, is he going to see the checkered flag this time or not? Round Goddard he goes. Are we going to get a checkered flag, or are we going to get one more lap? He's flashing his lights, and the checkered flag is not. Yes, it is shown. Yes, it's showing on our type of screen.
But it got shown to the 18 car. Alan Blencowe has to do another lap, although he'd be classified anyway, won't he? Because you don't not get classified.
Yes.
So slightly weird end there to the season. Yeah,
so it is. It did get shown to the 18 car, but that penalty has now been applied to it. So when he actually does get back round to take the checkered flag, it will be the treble 4 car. Now, the way he was flashing his lights did make it think that he was taking it that time.
That's right. It might be worth to do another lap, although I don't think it'll make a difference to the result, will it? Because you don't have to finish an endurance race to be classified.
Exactly. No, it'd be nice to do that though. But so. We've not yet had any of the front runners actually take the checkered flag yet, which is rather bizarre.
We have had William Puttigill and Chris Nyland through, though, to win Class B for the third time this season, the first time for Chris Nyland, but the Clubman Cup title for that car. But here's about of a second here.
Yeah, and it's coming over the line now. It's going to be Darren Ball that takes second place. The gap came down by about a second on the last lap to 1.4 seconds between Ball and Ryan Parkin, so they take second and third. It's going to be Scott Parkin across the line in fourth, so a 3-4, not quite the 1-2 that Darkside Developments were hoping for here. And then the Andy Schultz car comes across the line in sixth place. That had a good second half of the race when Sandy Schultz got aboard, taking over from Matt Hampson. Headlights showing very brightly. Looking forward to the single-seater race next to round out the weekend here at Donington Park. We've had fifth place through now. That was Matthew Stockford and Alan James. Alan James bringing that race to a close.
So is the winner going to come into the pit lane? Because I think Alan Blencowe has slowed down on this lap, hasn't he? I don't know if we can get that car on our screens, because officially he hasn't taken the checkered flag, Alan Blencowe, to win the race.
No, he hasn't.
Here he comes.
Is he going to take the checkered flag? He is going to take the checkered flag, just to make sure. And he's now got to do another lap, so it's going to be a long time before Matt Suckling gets to talk to him. We may hear from other class winners then before we hear.
Nice Claire's up there.
Yes, might hear from Claire if she's anywhere near there. I can see Matt down at the end of the pit lane. I can see the Puttigill and Nyland car slotting into the positions at the end of the pit lane, where Matt is going to hopefully speak to them. And very shortly we should have the Class C car heading in of Ashmore and Sam Dennis as well. But confirmation of the results, which is not what is on your screen. So the result, which I'll go for TSL top screen, is 4-4-4. Norman and Blencowe. The winners from number 25, Darren Ball, in second place. In third place was number 6, Dylan Brichter and Ryan Parkin. Fourth place to number 1, Scott Parkin. Fifth to number 78, Matthew Stockford and Alan James. In sixth place, number 69, Matthew Hampson and Andy Schultz. Seventh to number 2, that was Jamie Hadley. Eighth place to number 55, Paul Simerson and Richard Stanton. 9th place number 176 William Lynch. 10th and winning Class B, the number 83 car of Puttigill and Nyland. Then it was Tidmarsh and Webster 2nd in Class B, Lawson and Pickford 3rd in Class B, and the Cooks 4th in Class B, with Partridge and Woodward 5th in that class. Further down the order, in 16th position, 15th position it's Michael Downey, then Moore and Dennis in 16th place overall won Class C. 2nd in Class C were Thomas Stedman and Hooper, and then 3rd in Class C, Senna Osman and Jodie House to complete our podiums in the 3 different classes, and the rest of the results will run through. And the Tegiwa Club Enduro Championship comes to an end. It's been won by Ashmore and Sam Dennis. They wrapped that up at Alton Park last time out, but they've gone out with another win in Class C. Class B, Puttigill and Nyland taking the win on this occasion, but they couldn't overhaul Tidmarsh and Webster in the Class B Championship, and of course Scott Parkin was already confirmed as the Class A champion as well. So it's going to get very busy down there in pit lane. I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion about all kinds of topics after the race, but let's hear now from our class winners and hopefully our overall winner as well, with Matt Suckling. He's down in the pit lane.
Thanks, Ian. Yep, down here with Chris Nylon, who takes Class B. You're the first one we get back because we're still waiting for the race winner. But well done, Chris. Class B victory in the final round of the year.
Yeah, Class B victory, it's been a hard season this season, so that to end on that, I'm really, really happy with that. And I believe we've got the Clubman Cup as well, so even better. So it's like 2 in 1. Brilliant. Yeah. Fantastic.
Happy drivers, happy team as well, I imagine.
Yeah, honestly, I won't bore you with the details, but we've had some DNFs this year, so this is for the team who've worked so hard to get us out and make us finish today, and the car was absolutely on fire. It was brilliant.
And you had a really healthy lead by the looks of it in Class B before the safety car. Of course, safety car came out, that gap then started to come down. What did you think at that point?
Yeah, well, I guess it's Chris in the car, so I could see his Janetta there, and I'm thinking I need to get this restart. So yeah, I managed to get a good run off the after the safety car, and then just try pulling a bit of a gap and manage the traffic.
Good stuff. Well done, Chris. Congratulations on Class B victory. On that one, let's have a quick chat with our Class C winners as well. Who did we have in the car?
Ashmore first. I was out second. Sam Dennis.
How did you go, Sam?
It was a lot of fun, and we did. We've won again, straight 6 for 6. I can't believe it.
It's incredible, isn't it, to get a couple of wins throughout the season, but to do the clean sweep is absolutely amazing.
It is. I've had such an awesome team, and I've had amazing people behind me the whole way.
You look quite emotional.
I am. I've been dreaming about sports since I was a kid, and here I am.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well done. Congratulations to you as well. There's a massive team behind who are celebrating down here with Motion Motorsports, so they're absolutely fantastic. We've got the race winner by the looks of it, who has possibly stalled on the way into the pit lane. So hopefully we'll get Alan Blenko before too much longer. Might actually need a tow by the looks of it. So let's see. I don't know if Claire's. I think Claire is down there. So let's see if we can kind of go and have a quick chat with. Here comes Claire, so we'll have a quick chat with Claire and Alan as well. Hello, Claire. Look at that, much better today. I know you had some dramas yesterday, but well done on the victory.
Yeah, brought it home in first place, but now stuck in the pit lane. The clutch is gone.
Well, at least you did it there then during the race.
Absolutely. Alan drove so well and had a steady first session, first stint out in the car, and just had a good pit stop. Just played it by the book.
Normally these races we kind of have to wait until the pit window closes before we kind of find out how the race goes, but you played the strategy perfect. You got it and you got your pit stops done before the safety car drama happened.
Yes, absolutely. It was it worked to our favour. We suffered a safety car sort of disadvantage at Silverstone, and it worked in our favour this time, so it's how the dice rolls.
And I think you made a record as well. You're the first woman to win a Club Enduro race.
Oh really? Well, fantastic, thank you. I'll take that.
You can end the season, you can go home happy and celebrate now.
I have a good very good co-driver, so it's all thanks to Alan and the team really, and thank you to the 750 Motor Club. The team did it.
Well done, Claire. Right, let's go and see if we can grab a quick word with Alan. He's now made it with a push from the team, so let's see his thoughts as well, see how he feels and see if he knew if that race was going to go his way, but he's just going to kind of calm himself down and gather his thoughts and everything. So we'll go around the front. We've still got a few minutes before the F1000 cars come onto the circuit, so Alan jumps out and he's going to congratulate the team, which is brilliant to see, and Claire's going to be on hand as well to congratulate Alan, and thumbs up all round, big hugs, which is lovely to see as the skies get a little bit darker here at Donington Park as we bring this weekend to a close. He's got a lot of handshakes to be done here, so he's now going to get his gloves off and he'll take his hands device off as well as his race race helmet, and then hopefully we can get a word with Alan and his thoughts about that race as well. So hopefully don't run away, Alan. We need you here very quickly, and then you can go and see the rest of the family and friends over there. So Alan is almost de-rigged, which is good. Alan, yeah, off you go. That's fine. You go and have a quick chat. We'll follow him, actually. We'll go and chase him down. He's got a lot of celebrating to do after what was a brilliant victory. And I think it's his son who's on hand to give him a big hug, which is lovely to see. We've got cars coming through as well. So come on, Alan, come and join us here if you wouldn't mind. Well done. That was a fantastic race. Did you really know what was going on? There was a lot of penalties to be handed out in that race, but you brought it home in true style.
Yeah, it was a tough. We've had a tough weekend, but it's been a great result for the team. Yeah, we just had on the in lap there, the clutch went to the floor, and we can't get out of first gear, so hence that's where it stands. So, but yeah, great race. Car was faultless up until that point. Yeah, we just kept pounding out the lap times and got it there. But say it's been really hard work. We've had a very trying weekend. As this man knows, he knows I've had a trying weekend, and. Yeah, no, it's a great result for the team and a great way to end the year.
And Josh said to us up in the box as well, I think it's the first time you've won in 750 Motor Club since Stock Hatch days?
It is in 750. It's since 1999, so that feels good too.
Well done. That's a lovely way to end, Alan. Well done. Congratulations.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
There we go. Alan Blenko and Claire Norman very happy with the victory in the final club endurance race of the season. Right, we're going to get this race in. We're nearly done here at Donington Park, but stay with us. We've got an enthralling race to look forward to as we get set for F1000 once again. So back to Ian and Josh.